So if you followed anything I've said before, I talk about tone, tune, colors, the idea of taking something, putting it into your head, making you believe it, then of course you act and react as if that is real. So then where does that idea come from? Where is the 9/11 tone? And what does the 9/11 tone look like? What does it sound like? So I went in to explore and to find that several years ago, and this is going to be just an encapsulation of what I discovered during that time. And then I will play you the tones at the end so that you can also see the destructive damage of a tone, and also the idea that tones change depending on shape. All right. So then you go back to the idea of words and the fact that gods is dogs flipped and opposite, and you notice that in a lot of these hoax stories, dogs are always prevalent or present. Okay, so then I wanted to find out at what point the tune went out of tune, at what point the corruption happened. All right, so that is a display of that. Then looking at for the corner, the replaced cornerstone, okay, the fallen system, trying to figure out the use of these towers, which are absolutely for tone. I know a lot of people want to talk about energy, and everything's about running your toaster, right? It's well beyond that. These are tones. If you put out a tone across the population, a tone will then keep them in line. It will keep them in line. Okay, so we need to look at several different ways. I have what's called a sine wave there, but also I want to show you the sawtooth, and I want to show you that if I go into, let's say, a square pattern, that you will hear the difference. So then looking at to where these missing keys are. Where are these missing keys located? I've talked to you in the past about the two missing keys, or the two half notes creating the full note. All right. So where are those two half notes, and what are those two half notes? They're shown to you in depictions of keys or crossbones, a skull and crossbones. So that is your skull, that is your head, the receiver, the crossbones being the two replaced half notes, replacing or making the one. All right. The one to rule them all, Saturn, Satan, the idea of the fallen knowledge eating the fruit. All right, so I want to talk about that exact 9/11 note down to the T. I've identified it for you. Okay, I'm going to spend a little bit extra time on this slide just to bring your attention to the far left side. Notice I've placed the two towers, the I/O. The input output, the two towers. The one on the right would be the fallen light or the moon. The one that's not working, the fake love, that idea. Remember, this is something you need to think about. All right? So then the 9/11 crossing over the 10, the I/O. All right? So then what do you have? What is that tone? The tone is the 9116 on the MIDI scale. So I'm looking at the 22nd. I'm looking at a frequency of 29.135 hertz. Do you see how then that will go ahead and reflect perfectly to your 4 or the double 2, the moon return, the 11 making your what? 22 making your what? The idea sparked in your head, the knowledge given to you through the fallen 9/11. Do you notice how the 9/11 goes into the 9/11 or into the 12, into the 3, making the 3 sixes, or the 666 also making the 3, or Saturn or Satan. All right. It also leads you where? Into what? Into the 23, or death. Right? That's the abyss. That's what I'm talking about. So between that number, you have what? Here at the bottom, between the A and the B, you have an exact note I've identified at 34.32 milliseconds with a frequency of 29.135 hertz. So what does that sound like? And what can that do? Do you want to, just right at the desktop, we can have an experiment real quick. All right, so once again, just to show you that note that I'm looking at, if you look at the middle frequency hertz, you'll look at the first one is highlighted at 29.135. Adding that up on the point side of the right, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then the 9 plus 2 is the 11. That's your 9/11.
New mystery surrounding One World Trade Center. For about a year, New Yorkers have reported hearing an eerie sound coming from the newly constructed building. They call it haunting, and it's got a lot of people talking. Rick Leventhal joins us now. So, Rick, you went down there. You did some investigative work. What did you learn?
Well, there's clearly a noise. It's not clear exactly where it's coming from. It can create a sound that some are calling eerie, haunting, even moaning. The whistling was first reported by the Tribeca citizen on the day after Thanksgiving. A man who lives a couple blocks from the almost completed One World Trade Tower wrote a local paper and said he first heard the sound during Hurricane Sandy last year and assumed it would be eliminated when the building's framework was finished and the windows installed. Well, then last week in the middle of the night, the neighbor says the tower began whistling again with a slightly different two-toned cry, calling it unmistakable and very chilling. So here it is, and you can judge for yourself.
Is the little serpent has corrupted this train of thought, right? Remember the two pillars? So now this train of thought has been corrupted by news. If you break news up into pieces, it's going to be rebuilt as Zions, all right, or 1221. That's where your 1221 comes in. Nexus doesn't work in that it's an 11, so it's more Zions equaling the 12 number. The 11 coming across here is important if you're dealing with 7 and some other things that you'll find out in the news. This is how they build a news story on what's called, back in the day, it's novel, or what is believable, or as Plato would say, good sense. Nothing about the truth in there. Okay? You have to understand that a lot of these so-called Western philosophers were trained by it's just Egypt rebuilt. Rome is nothing but Egypt undercover. It's all that system or the truth. There is no truth in this system, which is why you just need to buck this serpent off in the name of Jesus Christ. Done. And you'll no longer have that ring of contention around the truth. Alright? See? And once you figure that out, the serpent goes, go, because it's going to have to get off. You're going to get off your line. Clear the line. And I will show you the sine wave through the triangle, through the square, and through the sawtooth. You'll see that these signs are familiar to you now that you know the older alphabets. That of course is being the Zion, the double 7. All right. Here we go. There'll be some audio distortion coming soon as frequencies play off each other. Okay? Frequencies against each other competing. Okay, did you notice that? Through just 3 times the power, and that 87.405 hertz is a very small amount of power. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do one last thing, if my speakers can handle it, and we're going to do the 87.405 into the 9th power. So I want to go ahead and bring this up by 6 more, so that's 524.43. Okay, I'm going to go as long as I can. And we're going to bring it right into the destruction code. Hold on. I think we found something. Hold on. Right there, man. Okay, let's put 293 stop. 293, 290 to 293. Go. Make them move. Man, my ears are hurting. All right, that's it for the experiment. Experiment's done. You can now see that you have definitely, you can identify a destruction code in there, and I'd say it's right there in this area. You know, I don't want to destroy anything, but that's that. All right, cheers. Take your bullshit and get out.
Take your ramen and get out. Oh, no.
So you know they're getting caught, but they're just deciding that, you know, most people are pretty stupid. You know? And stupid doesn't mean you're not smart. It just means you're stupid. Because you refuse to look at the evidence in front of you. And you rather believe fairy tales. You rather believe they got zapped into space. You rather believe they got kidnapped. You rather believe they got sacrificed. You rather believe anything but the truth that nobody died and nobody got hurt. And this is an absolute stage show. Now you need to grow up, because they're going to push laws down your throat and everybody else's throat because you refuse to understand the truth. Now you have a responsibility to the rest of mankind and your neighbor to stop believing these lies. I'm sorry to get upset, but I've had it with you people. Chasing every little rabbit hole when you know the absolute truth from day one. It was a scam and a hoax.
Wow, you went freaking nuts.
I'm telling you for the last time.
Him, not Bob Hope.
This didn't happen. Nobody died. Nobody got hurt. That's why they'll never stop. Because you refuse to say, stop. I don't believe this bullshit. No more. Take your bullshit and get out, because you're fired. Cut.